Most social anxiety doesn't come from people. It comes from where your attention goes the moment people are around. Before anyone speaks to you, before anything actually happens, your attention has already turned inward. You begin monitoring yourself automatically. Your posture, your expression, your tone, your timing. You start asking silent questions you didn't consciously choose. Do I look normal? Am I standing weird? What should I say if someone talks to me? What if I say the wrong thing? Your mind becomes a control room, watching every move in real time, and the more you watch yourself, the heavier everything feels. That heaviness has a specific quality. It feels like being visible in the wrong way, like standing under a spotlight that never turns off. Every pause feels exposed. Every movement feels noticeable. You're not just interacting with people. You're observing yourself interact with people. That alone is exhausting. And what makes it even harder is that the pressure feels justified. Your brain tells you it exists because people are paying close attention to you. But pause here for a moment and really examine that assumption. Think about how much attention you give to other people. How often are you watching someone else closely enough to notice every word, every pause, every small mistake? Most of the time, you're not. You're thinking about yourself. What you said. What you should have said. How you came across. Other people are doing the same thing. The spotlight you feel isn't coming from the room. It's coming from your own attention. This is the quiet insight that sits underneath Dale Carnegie's work. He wasn't talking about social anxiety directly, but he understood something fundamental about human interaction. Pressure increases when attention turns inward. Ease appears when attention moves outward. Carnegie never taught people how to become impressive. He taught them how to remove unnecessary weight from social situations. Because pressure doesn't come from talking to people. It comes from evaluating yourself while you're doing it. The moment you start judging your own performance, tension appears. You stop being present. You start presenting. And anxiety thrives on performance. That's why advice like, just be confident, feels hollow. Confidence doesn't appear when pressure is high. Confidence is a side effect of ease. Ease comes first. Carnegie's solution sounds almost too simple. Stop trying to impress people. Start being interested in them. At first, this advice can sound shallow, but psychologically, it changes everything. The moment you try to be interesting, you create responsibility. Now the success of the interaction depends on you. Was that story good enough? Did that joke land? Did I talk too much or too little? Your mind starts grading the interaction in real time. Anxiety feeds on that internal scorekeeping. But when your attention shifts outward, something subtle but powerful happens. You stop checking yourself every few seconds. Your breathing slows slightly. Your body loosens. This isn't positive thinking. It's nervous system regulation. Your brain cannot deeply analyze yourself and remain calm at the same time. But it can focus outward and regulate. Curiosity isn't just a social skill. It's a biological shortcut. When you become genuinely curious about someone, your mind stops rehearsing lines. It stops predicting rejection. It stops scanning for flaws. You are no longer the object of being judged. You are the observer. That single shift removes an enormous amount of pressure. This is why listening works so well for people with social anxiety. Listening doesn't mean disappearing. It doesn't mean being passive. It means understanding instead of performing. Most people with social anxiety aren't bad at conversations. They're overwhelmed by the belief that they need to manage everything. They think they need to entertain, to keep the energy up, to avoid awkwardness at all costs. That belief alone creates anxiety. Dale Carnegie dismantled this idea quietly. He noticed that people feel most comfortable when they feel understood, not impressed, not entertained, understood. So he encouraged letting people talk about themselves, not as manipulation, not as a trick, but as a way to remove pressure from the interaction. When someone else is talking, the spotlight moves. You are no longer the center of evaluation. And when the spotlight moves, anxiety loses its fuel. At this point, a lot of people with social anxiety feel a familiar resistance. They think, this sounds good in theory, but what if I don't know what to say next? That fear comes from a hidden assumption. The assumption that you are responsible for carrying the conversation. You are not. That responsibility is self-assigned, and it is the main source of pressure. Dale Carnegie never suggested that you should manage conversations. He suggested that you should participate in them. There is a difference. Managing requires control. Participation requires attention. Control creates anxiety. Attention creates ease. This is where structure becomes more important than confidence. When you have no structure, your mind fills the gap with self-monitoring. It starts scanning for mistakes. It starts rushing you forward. Structure gives your nervous system something steady to rest on. Here is a structure that works even on days when anxiety is loud. One genuine question. Then listen fully. Then ask one follow-up. After that, you pause. You do not rush to fill silence. You do not scramble for the next line. You let the moment breathe. Silence is not a failure of social skill. Silence is a neutral space. Anxiety treats silence like danger. But silence is often where tension begins to dissolve. When you allow space, your body has time to settle. Your breathing slows. Your thoughts soften. Dale Carnegie understood this intuitively. He knew that people feel safest when they are not being rushed, judged, or evaluated. And that safety changes the entire interaction. This is also why he placed importance on remembering names, not as a trick, not as a networking tactic, but because a name signals recognition. When someone hears their name, something subtle happens. Their body relaxes. Their guard lowers. They feel seen as a person, not a role. And when the other person feels safe, you feel safer too. Social ease is shared. It moves between people. You don't create it alone. You allow it. The same principle applies to appreciation, not flattery. Flattery creates pressure because it sounds exaggerated. Anxious people especially struggle with flattery because it feels dishonest. It feels like another performance. Dale Carnegie made a clear distinction. Flattery seeks approval. Appreciation notices reality. Appreciation does not require confidence. It requires attention. You explained that clearly. That helped me understand. These are observations, not performances. Presence creates calm. Pretending creates tension. When you stop pretending, your body knows it can relax. This is why Dale Carnegie's ideas still work today. Not because people haven't changed, but because nervous systems haven't. Social anxiety is not a flaw in your personality. It is not a lack of intelligence. It is not a sign that something is broken in you. It is an attention pattern. When your attention is locked inward, pressure builds. When attention moves outward, pressure fades. This does not mean ignoring yourself completely. It means loosening the grip of constant self-evaluation. You are not required to monitor every word you say. You are not required to optimize every interaction. You are allowed to be present without managing the outcome. You don't need to become louder. You don't need to become someone else. You don't need confidence before you speak. You need a different direction for your attention. Once you stop standing under a spotlight that doesn't exist, people stop feeling intimidating. They stop feeling like judges. They stop feeling like problems to solve. They start feeling human. And when people feel human, conversations stop feeling like tests. They become moments. Moments you can move through without bracing yourself. Moments you don't have to win. Before you go, try one small thing. In your next interaction, notice where your attention goes. If it turns inward, gently move it outward. Ask one genuine question. Stay with the answer. Notice what happens in your body when you stop performing. If this way of thinking helped you, and you want more calm, practical ideas like this, you can subscribe to the channel. No pressure. Just tools to make social situations feel lighter.